You know, the reason you struggle with staying motivated is that your goals are currently something you do rather than someone you are. But we're going to fix that. We'll show you the 3-step system for identity fusion that bridges that gap and makes your success a biological inevitability. Okay, let's dive right in because we are about to look at the very architecture of purpose and how to rebuild it from the ground up.
Just let that sentence sit with you for a second. This isn't just some catchy phrase. It's a diagnosis of a huge problem in how we chase our goals. We treat our biggest ambitions like a to-do list, right? Like these external things we have to drag ourselves towards. But what if that whole approach is just wrong? What if the key to real unstoppable momentum isn't about more discipline, but about rebuilding the entire engine of who you are? So here's our game plan. First, we're going to completely tear down the myth of willpower. Then we'll uncover the secret observer inside your brain that's actually creating your self-image. After that, I'm giving you the exact 3-step identity fusion protocol. Then we'll get into the biological payoff of all this. And finally, we'll see how to make your goals feel less like a struggle and more, well, just inevitable. All right, section 1. Let's start with maybe the biggest lie in the whole world of productivity. Just try harder. We hear it all the time. Grind, hustle, just push through it. But this advice completely ignores how your brain actually works. Relying on willpower is kind of like trying to power a whole city with a couple of AA batteries. It's just a losing strategy, and it's neurologically doomed to fail. So let's break this down. On one side, you've got transactional motivation. Honestly, this is where most of us live most of the time. It's this idea that you do a task now to get some reward way off in the future. You go to the gym to get fit. You write to get published. The action itself feels like a chore, a cost. But on the other side, you have identity-driven action. And here, the action isn't a means to an end, it is the end. It's a direct expression of who you believe you are. A runner runs because, well, that's what runners do. See the difference? So what's really going on in your brain when you're in that forcing it mode? Well, every single time you have to debate with yourself, should I work out? Should I write today? You're using your prefrontal cortex. Think of it as your brain's CEO. The problem is it's an energy hog, and every one of those internal debates comes with a willpower tax. It drains your mental fuel, which leads to decision fatigue, and eventually you just run out of gas. And you know what wins? The couch always wins. And this brings us to the core idea here, a real paradox. Effort is for amateurs. Expression is for pros. See, amateurs have to consciously try to do the thing. They're using brute force, discipline, willpower. But the pros, the real masters, they operate from a place of expression. The action just flows out of them. It's a natural part of who they are. For them, it's not work anymore. It's just them in motion. Our goal is to get you from the world of effort into the world of expression. Okay, so if willpower is a trap, then how in the world do we get out of it? To figure that out, we have to pull back the curtain and meet the brain's secret observer. We need to actually look at the source code that our brain uses to build our sense of self, and this is where it gets really cool. This is something called self-perception theory, and it turns everything we think we know on its head. We tend to believe that we figure out who we are by thinking really hard, by looking inward. But this theory says it's the exact opposite. We figure out who we are by watching what we do, almost like an outsider. Your brain literally sees you doing things and then it draws a conclusion. It sees you eat a salad and thinks, I guess I'm a healthy person. It's not a feeling, it's a conclusion based on evidence. So what this really means is that your brain is acting like a scientist. It's skeptical. It won't just take your word for it that you're a new person. It needs proof. It needs cold, hard data points before it's going to change its mind about who you are. A belief isn't something you just choose to have. It's the conclusion your brain comes to after it looks at all the evidence. And that's the whole foundation of what we call the identity proof loop. And look at how simple and powerful this loop is. It all starts with one tiny, undeniable action. You write just one sentence. That's step 1. Then, step 2, your brain's internal observer just logs that action. No judgment, it just makes a note. Okay, one sentence written. And then, here comes the most important part, step 3. The brain draws a conclusion. It doesn't say, I did a task. It says, I am the kind of person who writes. You're not just checking a box, you're literally handing your brain evidence for a new identity. And this is where the real magic kicks in. Because once your brain finally accepts this new identity, once it concludes, okay, yep, I am a writer, this incredibly powerful psychological force takes over called the self-consistency motive. Your brain hates being a hypocrite. That feeling of discomfort when your actions don't match your beliefs, that's called cognitive dissonance. So once you're a writer, not writing creates this painful internal alarm.
your brain will actually push you to write just to turn that alarm off. Your identity literally becomes a self-correcting autopilot for your goal.
So now that we get the psychology behind how identity is formed, let's get super practical. This isn't just a list of feel-good tips. This is the Identity Fusion Protocol, a systematic 3-step system for consciously engineering the person you want to become. The protocol has 3 clear phases. First, we do a linguistic audit to change how we talk about ourselves. Second, we cast what are called identity votes to give the brain the proof it needs. And third, we use tribal alignment to make that new identity really stick. Let's break each one of these down. All right, step 1. It all starts with your words, because your identity is literally built with language. I want you to start paying attention to how you talk about your goals. Most of us use words like, I'm trying to get fit, or I'm an aspiring writer. That language right there creates a gap. It's telling your brain, hey, this isn't who we are yet. This is something we're still chasing. So the shift you have to make is to what we call identity-first nouns. You're not trying to learn piano anymore. As of right now, you are a pianist. You're not working on a project. You are a builder. This isn't about faking it till you make it. It's about giving your brain a new master label, a new file folder to start putting evidence into. And that one little change affects everything. Okay, on to step 2. And this might be the most crucial piece of the whole puzzle, the evidence-based anchor. Remember, you can't just declare you're a pianist and expect your brain to fall in line. That belief has to be earned. It's a conclusion based on data. You have to give it objective, undeniable proof that this new identity is the real deal.
And the proof you need can be, well, incredibly small. The real power is in the number 1. One tiny, consistent win. One identity vote. Your goal isn't to run a marathon tomorrow. It's to put on your running shoes and walk out the door. That's it. Your goal isn't to write a chapter. It's to write one sentence. Each ridiculously easy action is a vote you cast for your new identity. It's a tiny piece of data that your inner scientist cannot argue with. And that's the anchor that makes it all real.
And finally, step 3. This is how we make your new identity permanent. You do it through tribal alignment. Look, a personal identity is strong, but a social identity, that's nearly indestructible. We are wired to be social creatures, and our sense of who we are is deeply, deeply connected to where we belong. Just look at how these 3 things fuse together. You have your new personal identity, I am a runner. You connect that to a tribal purpose, we are a group training for a 5K, and that creates this powerful sense of collective belonging. When these 3 circles overlap, you create what's called a tribal lock. Suddenly, quitting isn't just a personal choice anymore. It now has a social cost. You'd be letting the team down. You'd be breaking from the group. And that social pressure makes your new identity incredibly sticky. So, what's actually happening inside your brain when this all clicks into place? What's the real biological reward for fusing your identity with your goals? Well, this is where we finally make that jump from conscious grinding effort to just effortless, natural expression. The change is actually physical. The location of the activity in your brain literally moves. All that hard work, the willpower, the internal debates, that all happens in the energy-draining prefrontal cortex. But once an action becomes a core part of your identity, the brain offloads it to a different area, the basal ganglia. This is your brain's efficiency center, the part that runs habits automatically. The action is no longer a decision you have to make, it's just what you do. This neurological handoff creates a state of what's called cognitive ease. All that internal friction just vanishes. The behavior feels smooth, natural, right. And that feeling of ease, that is the absolute requirement for getting into a flow state. You know, that magical zone of peak performance where you're totally absorbed and your best work just pours out of you. You're not really working anymore, you're just being. Okay, let's bring this all home. By shifting from willpower to identity, you're not just learning a new productivity trick. You are fundamentally re-engineering your own biology to make success the path of least resistance. You are literally creating a new reality for yourself. In the end, persistence is just a side effect of who you believe you are. We have to stop trying to do our way to success and start being our way there. And the system is so clear. Do a linguistic audit to claim your new identity right now. Cast tiny daily identity votes to give your brain undeniable proof, and finally, find your tribe to lock it all in. Because productivity was never about doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless. And there is no system more powerful than a truly fused identity.